Hey guys, before the video, just want to give a little disclaimer. This is not going to be a traditional review, kind of like where I try to put some comedy skits in it, like for my video game reviews. This is just going to be more like a podcast, just my thoughts, unscripted. I'm just going to ramble, give my thoughts, and then I'll assign some kind of grade. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to say. I might just do a letter scale or a number scale, even though that's kind of boring. I might just roll with it. So yeah, on to the review. Hey guys, it's Josh again here, and I'm bringing you my first ever pro wrestling WWE whatever pay-per-view review, and it's Great Balls of Fire. Yes, they actually named the show that, and the logo still looks like a penis and balls, but yeah, it's in the books. And just before I start the review, of course I start reviewing pay-per-views in the middle of the year as opposed to the beginning of the year, because that would have made sense. And I'm not just going to review WWE shows. I'm also going to be reviewing New Japan wrestling shows and some NXT shows, which is technically WWE, but it's a little bit different. And if you hear any background noises in the background, that's my fan going off because the air conditioning at my house went out, which is just lovely. But hopefully that won't be too distracting. I'll try to edit it in post. So anyway, WWE Great Balls of Fire a few days ago. I thought this was a very, very good show. I had so much fun watching this show, and in my opinion, it is the WWE's best pay-per-view of 2017 so far. The Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and WrestleMania, those were really good shows, and I thought Elimination Chamber was so far the best pay-per-view of the year. Well, the Great Balls of Fire was better than Elimination Chamber, at least in my opinion. And if you hated this pay-per-view, if you didn't like this pay-per-view, that's perfectly fine. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm just giving mine. But, yeah, I loved this show. There was some dumb things on the show, as per the course with WWE. But for the most part, at least in my opinion, the positives outweighed the negatives. And to be perfectly honest, this has actually, in my opinion, been a really good pay-per-view year for WWE so far. I mean, I've enjoyed pretty much every single pay-per-view this year, with the exception of Backlash and Payback, which I thought were meh, not good, not bad, just in the middle. And I thought Money in the Bank last month was pretty bad. It was the first bad pay-per-view of the year. It wasn't horrible. The main event was awesome, but everything other than that was either meh or just bad or dumb. Plus 4 screwy finishes in a row, which Money in the Bank sucked. Okay, but and it's really telling the state of SmackDown and Raw now with the brand split, because pre-WrestleMania, if you were to ask me which brand does better pay-per-views, I would definitely say SmackDown, because I mean, just look at the beginning of the year. They had, what was it? They had Elimination Chamber, which I thought was awesome. And then they had Fastlane, which I'm one of the few people on planet Earth that liked Fastlane, but I still thought Elimination Chamber was better. And before that, in 2016, SmackDown was destroying Raw with their pay-per-views. I mean, it wasn't even close. But ever since WrestleMania, that seems to have flipped a little bit. And now SmackDown is having meh pay-per-views, and the Raw pay-per-views are getting better. And again, Money in the Bank was not very good, and this show was very good. So, and honestly, this was more or less a 2-match show. There are 2 matches on the show that if you don't want to watch the whole thing, just go back and watch these 2 matches, because they are worth the show alone. They are worth the $9.99. I absolutely love these 2 matches, and they of course were the Raw Tag Team Iron Man match between Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy against Cesaro and Sheamus. And, of course, the main event, Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar. Those 2 matches were freaking awesome. I love both those matches. And, in my opinion, the Tag Team Iron Man match was the match of the show. With Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar, a very, very close second. And there wasn't really anything bad on this show. There were, again, some dumb things. But, for the most part, everything was alright. There was... And really, when I mean dumb things... Probably the biggest problem on this show was that no babyface... Oh, there went my phone. Excuse me. No babyfaces won on this show. Unless you count Brock Lesnar, and he's kind of a tweener. But, although Samoa Joe was clearly the heel in the feud. I mean, he keeps attacking Brock from behind leading up to the show, and he attacked his manager, so Samoa Joe was clearly the heel. But Brock Lesnar isn't exactly a babyface, so... If you don't count Brock Lesnar, then no babyface had a happy ending on this show. And WWE wonders why they aren't good at making baby faces anymore. I mean, have them win and not do dumb things, because there were some dumb babyface moments on this show. Because of course it's a WWE show. It's like par for the course. I would not be able to recognize a WWE show if they didn't have a babyface doing something stupid. But again, it was a heels winning only show, and the only time a babyface won was via countout, and it was in a title match, so the heel got to keep her title. Really? I mean, that's astounding. But that's really my biggest negative with this pay-per-view, and there were a few boring matches, and one match on this show that I cannot believe actually took place. Just completely boggles my mind, but we'll get to all that. Starting with the kickoff show with the Cruiserweight Championship, Neville versus Akira Tazawa. Now, initially, I was mad that this match was going to be on the kickoff show, because no one watches the kickoff show. As a matter of fact, every WWE pay-per-view, I absolutely cannot stand the kickoff show, because they have the panel of quote-unquote experts, and it is a absolute train wreck cluster screw every single time they do it, because no one has a clue what they're doing except for Renee Young, and even then she's kind of awkward there. But I absolutely hate the Legends panel, the experts panel. It's like UFC does stuff like this, other sports do stuff like this. Well, other sports, it's not scripted. WWE is scripted, so it feels forced and just contrived, and it's just not good. So that's my rant on kickoff shows. But yeah, I was not happy that Neville and Tazawa, because it's freaking Neville and Tazawa. It was one of the matches I was looking forward to most, and of course it got bumped to the kickoff show. The poor Cruiserweight division, they just cannot get any spotlight. WrestleMania, they're bumped to the kickoff show. Freaking Payback, the match ended in disqualification, of course, because we have to have disqualifications and countouts and title matches on pay-per-views. That is one of my pet peeves with WWE, the rampant disqualifications. Countouts, I'm a little less annoyed by, unless it's a heel and a championship heel that just walks out of a match. That's when I get annoyed. But the disqualifications, there are way too many disqualifications in this company. Thankfully, there were none tonight. But anyway, so all that said, I can kind of see why Neville and Tazawa was on the kickoff show because of the finish. And again, that being said, I thought this match was really good. You could tell that they knew that they were on the pre-show, so they didn't go all out. But what they did looked really good. And they're really stiff strikers. I love Akira Tozawa's headbutt suicide dive. Especially the second one, it looked like he decapitated Neville. It was awesome. And although the one negative I do have about this match, Titus O'Neil. I know a lot of people love him, his gimmick right now. I find him really annoying. I know I'm in the minority. It's just me. I think he's really annoying, and he kind of annoyed me in this match, but he wasn't his crazy. He was just support, but I was more annoyed by the fact that he was there in general. So that's a very minor complaint. And although I said that the finish was probably because is probably the reason why this was on the kickoff show. The reason why I believe that is because if you do this kind of a finish on the main show, it's going to be lame. Because at first glance, it did seem kind of lame. I mean, Neville just did a kick, but if you think about it, I do like the finish of this match. I thought it was clever, and I thought it was smart, and it made sense. He crotched him on the ropes, and he kicked the ropes into his crotch, and then he kicked him in the stomach. All right, guys, you know this. You get kicked in the balls, you're going to go down. I mean, remember Battleground 2013, CM Punk defeated Ryback with a low blow. So it makes sense. I mean, he got the ropes. He got crotched, and then the rope went into his crotch off a kick. So I don't buy that wouldn't put someone down, because it's a sensitive area, you know? And I know Akira Tozawa was tough, but I mean, unless he has freaking balls of steel, which he probably does. I mean, seriously, if I tried to kick him there, I'd probably break my foot. Why did I just say that? So yeah, I like the finish. It made sense to me, although I wish that off of that, Neville did the red arrow or put him in the submission hold. I was hoping it would put him in the submission hold, but he did a spin kick. I mean, it made sense, but he pinned him off a spin kick. And that's what a lot of people are going to notice. He just pinned him with a spin kick. What a burial. It wasn't a burial. I mean, it made sense, but it was still kind of lame. But I did like the finish, although it was kind of lame. So this match gets a thumbs up. I can kind of see why it was on the kickoff show, but it shouldn't have been on the kickoff show. But if you're going to do a finish like that, it's probably smart to put it on the kickoff show. But that's my opinion. So thumbs up for that. So then the show starts. And I'm just going to say I love the way the show looked. Because I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but especially on SmackDown, this is a problem. On these singular branded pay-per-views, it doesn't feel like a pay-per-view it feels like another episode of that show. Raw's gotten a little bit better about that because they make the arenas more grandiose and they're bigger arenas. But SmackDown, I felt like Money in the Bank was another episode of SmackDown. And I felt like Backlash was another episode of SmackDown. And just, that's not a good thing. Like, I felt Payback was another episode of Raw. But this show did not feel like another episode of Raw. It felt like an actual pay-per-view. I guess that's because they were using a giant arena. And or a bigger arena. It might just be me, just something that I feel needs to be addressed. But this did feel like a pay-per-view. I love the set. And the crowd was kind of iffy on this show. They were into some stuff. They weren't into other stuff. And some of the stuff that they weren't into, I kind of understand. Especially the Intercontinental title match. But I'll get to that. So the opening match was Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. This was a good match. It wasn't great, but it didn't need to be because it's the opening match of the show. So for the match that they had, it was perfectly fine. They're completely, obviously capable of better matches, but again, it's the opening match. You don't want to blow away the crowd with the first match of the show, unless you want them to be dead for the rest of it, which they kind of were for a lot of the show. But again, they had a good match, and my favorite spot in this match was kind of getting close to towards the end when Seth Rollins did his ninja enziguri thing, where he leaves both of his feet. And Bray Wyatt staggered back, and then Seth Rollins bounced off the ropes. And then Bray Wyatt decapitates this guy with a freaking clothesline. I love Bray Wyatt's, back turn clothesline. That is the best. That is my favorite Bray Wyatt move, because it looks brutal. And Seth Rollins can sell, if Dolph Ziggler knew what he was doing. That's a lot of people are going to take that the wrong way. But still, yeah, I love that spot. It was great. But that was my favorite spot in the entire match. And these two appear to have good chemistry. Problem is, they weren't given all that much time. And again, it was the opening match. But I honestly thought that their match on Raw last night was a little bit better because they were given a little bit more time and they had the main event slot. Kind of. Yeah, it was the main event slot. But it was still a good match. And I do like the finish. I did like the finish. Because they protected Seth Rollins for one thing. So they had a babyface protected. Seth Rollins did not look like an idiot in this match. One of the few baby faces on the show that didn't look like an idiot. So, so it really started because by the way the match was going near the end of it, it was clear that Seth Rollins was in control. So Bray Wyatt started to get desperate. He was like, the dude has a screwed up knee. So he started kicking at the knee. Well, Seth Rollins, it hurt his knee, obviously. But Seth Rollins kept fighting back, and Bray was like, crap, it's not working. So Bray rolls to the outside. He's trying to think of something else to do. Seth Rollins sticks his head out of the ropes, and Bray's like, gotcha, screw, and it just scratches his eyes. And then, that did some damage. Seth Rollins can't see, so he hits him with the Sister Abigail and wins. So the story of that was, Bray Wyatt started getting desperate and started taking cheap shots, and eventually won. But it didn't take one cheap shot to get rid of Seth Rollins, it took 2 cheap shots. So, Seth didn't go down like a punk off of one cheap shot, it took several to keep him down. So I like that. It protected Seth Rollins, but Bray Wyatt did look good. So I give this match a thumbs up. It could have been better, but this segment I thought was good. I have no problems with this segment. I have nothing negative to say about this segment. Except for the crowd was the crowd was sort of into it, sort of not. But to be perfectly honest, how could you be? I mean, this entire feud between these two is Bray Wyatt thinks he's a god, and Seth Rollins is like, no, you're not. That's literally the entire feud between these two. I'm a god. No, you're not. It's like a delusional guy and a not delusional guy arguing on the playground. I'm a god. No, you're not. That's what this feud is. That's the entire feud. So, of course, no one really cares about the feud. But I was looking forward to the match, kind of. Also, I absolutely do not give a crap about Bray Wyatt. I have been trained by the WWE to not give a crap about Bray Wyatt. Because every time they build him up to where you should care, he loses. And loses again. And keeps losing. So I don't care. Personally, I was actually stunned that Bray Wyatt won because, again, he loses all the time. But, yeah, I was surprised Bray Wyatt won. And, honestly, I do think Seth Rollins should have won because Seth Rollins has been on a little bit of a roll, kind of hit a little bump in the road at Extreme Rules. But, yeah, I do think Seth should have won, but I have no problems with what they did here. I think if they wanted Bray Wyatt to win, this is the way to do it. So, again. Alright, moving on. This is where things get a little interesting. Big Cass versus Enzo Amore. I'm going to start this out by saying, the entire time Cass and Enzo have been a tag team on both NXT and WWE, I honestly have no idea why they're so popular. I don't get it. Enzo, he's good on the mic, I'll give him credit, but he is a terrible wrestler. He is a god-awful professional wrestler. Big Cass is decent, but he's limited. Why are these guys so over? Why were they so over as a tag team? So, I never understood that. I never really cared for them. I don't hate them. I just think they're overrated. I think they're okay. They're a good team. They're just not... They're not as good as they are over. Like, how good they are and how over they are, it's like not even the same ballpark. But, so they start... Of course, the breakup happened, and I don't care because I don't care about either of them. Although, I do love Big Cass's big boot. He has the best big boot since Test. So, there's that. And also, I went from not hating Enzo to hating Enzo because he's so freaking terrible in the ring, and he's very annoying. And he has good promos, but a lot of the material that he has is so stupid. And I a few months ago, just washed my hands of the guy. I was like, I don't mind Cass, but I freaking hate Enzo, get him off my TV. The dude had an awful match with Cesaro. How do you do that? I still have vivid memories of Cesaro trying to throw Enzo out of the ring, but Enzo didn't go all the way. So then Enzo jumped out of the ring. Enzo's a horrible professional wrestler. So that's my Enzo rant right there. So already, I did not give a crap about this match. This was my piss break match, if you want to call it that. I didn't actually go use the bathroom, but I probably should have. But I'll tell you what I should have used the bathroom during. This promo. This opening promo before the match. Enzo gets in the ring. Of course, the crowd loves him for some reason. I don't know why. And he grabs the microphone. And I'm very mixed on this promo. On one hand, his delivery was great. And he was passionate. He was intense. All that was good. My problem with this promo is it took forever. He just kept talking and talking and talking. He was beating around the bush, and it took him forever to get to the point. And I hate promos like that, where the guy just won't shut up. I'm like, I know, I get it, you're upset. Your brother turned on you. We've seen this storyline a million times. We get it. Shut up. And by the end of the promo, I really, really, really wanted Big Cass to come out and just kick him in the face and just be done with it. So, I thought it was a good promo. It just went way, way, way too... It should have been like 3 minutes. It was like 10. It was way too long. So then, Cass comes out. And let me say right now, the best thing about this entire segment, Cass's new theme song. I don't love Cass's theme song, but I am starting to dig it. It's going to grow on me, and I'm really going to end up liking it. So far, I really like it. And who knows, a month from now, I might love his theme song. But I am digging his new theme song. So he comes out... After the big video package and after the 20-year-long promo, they have a 3-minute squash match. I don't understand why you would have him come out, have such a long-winded promo, if he's going to get killed in 3 minutes. He didn't even do anything. He threw a few punches. That was Enzo's offense in this match, a few punches. Everything else was Big Cass. Big Cass just punching him, throwing him around the ring. And I'll be honest, as much as I do kind of like Big Cass, I think he's alright in the ring, he didn't really do anything. He just beat him up. It wasn't all that impressive. Except for, I did love the spot where he gorilla press slammed him out of the ring. I did like that because Enzo knows how to do one thing, and that's bump like a ragdoll. And that was perfect with the military press to the outside. I like that. And of course, Big Cass has one of the best big boots in the business. So, after all of that, he just big boots him and wins. That is a burial. Now that I think about it, they probably scheduled this segment to go like 15 minutes. But then they were like, we're going to have a match between Enzo and Cass. Cass is fine, but he's limited, and Enzo is not a good wrestler at all. He's an F-level guy in the ring. We're going to have these guys have a long match? Well, we already have the schedule to go 15 minutes. Just have Enzo talk forever. I think that's why, because... Now that I think about it, I think it was kind of smart. It's either you have Enzo talk forever and then have a squash match where he loses, or have a really long bad match. So I would honestly pick the talking and then the decent squash over 10 minutes of just an awful match. So I guess the WWE picked the lesser of two evils, I guess. So I'll give this segment a thumbs in the middle. I enjoyed the match because I loved seeing Cass beat up Enzo because Enzo got on my nerves. And again, Enzo got on my nerves. So there was that. And I don't remember if it was after this match or after the next match, but there was a video, the most bizarre, shocking thing on this entire show. They had a Kurt Angle documentary thing on the network, and freaking Dixie Carter was on the... Dixie Carter, her face was on the WWE network. My jaw hit the floor. Because I'm still shocked. I cannot believe I saw Dixie Carter on WWE programming. It's not going to make me watch the documentary because I really don't care all that much. I mean, I love Kurt Angle. I just don't care about the thing. But, man, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting to see Dixie Carter. So, anyway, up next was my favorite match on the show, the Tag Team Iron Man match between the champions Cesaro and Sheamus and the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff. I know that some people thought that this match was boring, and some people thought this match was freaking awesome. I'm on the side that thought it was freaking awesome, but I do understand why some people thought it was boring because it did take the crowd a while to get into this match. Because I'll be honest, the crowd wasn't like dead silent. That comes later. They just were like indifferent. They were like, oh yay, like whenever someone did a move, they were like yay, and then they went back to being quiet. But at around the 20-minute mark, like I enjoyed the first 20 minutes. I thought it was good, but the last 10 minutes were freaking fantastic. Just awesome wrestling. Although both Sheamus and Matt did get dinged up a little bit. Another thing on the show, there was a lot of accidental bleeding on this show. Because I'll get to that, but so yeah, I thought it was a good match, and I loved it from the very beginning because the first 10 seconds, Cesaro runs in the ring as the illegal man, distracts Matt, like runs at Matt, then moves out of the way. Matt's like, what the heck? He tries to clothesline him, but he misses, and then Sheamus bro kicks him and pins him. I actually really liked that spot. I thought it was clever, although smart heels is usually not a good idea. But I did like it because, I mean, why not? And I know some people have brought up, why haven't they tried this sooner? Why haven't they done this before? If it's this easy, why haven't they done this before? Well, that's a good point, but honestly, you have to remember, Cesaro and Sheamus are human beings. So, if I was them, I probably wouldn't have thought of it right away. They probably just came up with it. And they were like, let's try it. And it worked. So, I mean, they're humans. They're not super geniuses. They're not going to immediately think of this outstanding maneuver. Like, they were probably like, what's a good way to win a fall fast? We need to get in the lead. And then they were like, oh, we can do this. Also, again, if you want to go there, I guess it is kind of dumb that it took them till now to come up with that spot. But then again, heels are supposed to be dumb, so I guess it kind of makes sense that way. But and I also heard people complaining that Jeff Hardy didn't go break up the tag. I can kind of defend that Jeff was not expecting that. He was surprised, and by the time the shock wore off, the referee was already at 2 count, and there was nothing he could do. So I guess there's that. But so yeah, I like that opening spot, and it immediately sets the story of the match. The champs are ahead, and the challengers are the heel champions are ahead. So the entire match is the good guys trying to catch up to the bad guys. And that's a good story. And I know, again, some people thought this match was boring. I thought it was fantastic. And I enjoyed the first 20 minutes, which is what a lot of people thought were boring. But I just thought it was good wrestling all around. Like, for example, one of my favorite moments in the match, I'm going to get really into detail, but there was about a little bit after the first fall, it was Matt Hardy went for a twist of fate, but Sheamus countered it. Matt Hardy, instead of releasing the front chancery or going for something else, he stopped, he paused for a second, got Sheamus back under control, and then DDT'd him. I loved that spot. It's very minor, I know, and a lot of you probably didn't even notice or care. I loved it because it's little things like that that make it feel real. You went for a move, got blocked, go for something else. I mean, if you're a highly competitive match, you're going to have to think fast. And it made Matt Hardy look smart. My Twist of Fate isn't working. He's blocking it. I'll go for something else. I'll surprise him. And it worked. I loved that DDT spot. Other spots, I loved the way that the second fall that Matt and Jeff got. Jeff Hardy's weird, like, where he usually does the double leg drop to the groin with both legs up, well, to the lower abdomen. Whenever he does the inverted version of that for a pin, that looks like the most painful thing ever, and he got, like, Matt gave Cesaro a backslide, and then Jeff did that. I love that. I love that finish right there. I love that fall. And, and we even saw a super Twist of Fate in this match, which, in retrospect, it looked awesome, and this is where the match really started to pick up, but I think it may have hurt Sheamus. He may have gotten knocked woozy. I hope to God he didn't get a concussion, but, yeah, he got knocked a little loopy off that, so that's not good. And then, a few minutes after that, both Matt and Jeff did a double body splash in the middle of the ring on Sheamus. And then Matt came up with a huge cut on above his eye, and he was bleeding everywhere. So either he landed face first on Sheamus's knee, and in which case that would be like it was his fault, or Sheamus for some reason put his knee up a little bit, and it caught Matt Hardy in the eye, which in that case Sheamus was dumb for doing that. But either way, so they're wrestling. The clock is winding down. The tag champs are trying everything they can. It's craziness. This is when the crowd started going insane, and the crowd really started getting into it at the 20-minute mark. And I loved the finish. I absolutely loved the finish. Cesaro gets a blind tag, and for some reason a lot of people didn't notice this. It was clear as day. Cesaro clearly and obviously tagged Sheamus. It was right in front of the camera. So he gets the blind tag, but Jeff Hardy and Matt don't see it. So Jeff at one point hits a swanton bomb on the illegal Sheamus. Off the impact, after 28 minutes of an exhausting wrestling match, Cesaro jumps on top of him and pins him. I love that spot. I love that finish. I mean, he just jumped off the top rope and landed back first on a guy almost 30 minutes into a match where everyone's exhausted. So yeah, it would make sense that he jumps on top of him for the pin. Or at least I thought it was a good spot. I love that spot. And then, of course, Cesaro hightails it out of there, runs around the ring, and Jeff Hardy finally hits a Twist of Fate but does not cover him fast enough, and they run out of time. Cesaro and Sheamus retain. I absolutely love this match. I thought it was brilliant. I loved the way it was booked. And I felt that all the competitors in the match looked smart. So that may be just me. If you thought this match was boring, that's fine. I completely 100% disagree. I don't see how you thought this match was boring. Except for the crowd. It took a little bit for the crowd to get into, which I agree. But the crowd did get into it eventually. But yeah, I thought this match was awesome. I think that Cesaro and Sheamus benefited greatly from this match. Because the Hardys put them over in a major way tonight. And it was great. I just loved this match. So yeah, big resounding thumbs up. And then up next, it was on its way to being a thumbs up, and then the finish came. And then the finish killed the crowd for a little while. Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks for the women's title. Now, I'm not going to lie, I absolutely do not give a single crap about the Raw or SmackDown women's division. They had a little bit of interest going with Bayley, and they could have done something with Charlotte. They could have done something, but they screwed all that up 6 ways to Sunday. And the Charlotte-Sasha feud last year just completely drained everybody. No one cares about the women in WWE right now. I'm sorry, unless you're in NXT and you're freaking Asuka, who's Lesnar, no one cares. And the NXT women's roster is the only women's roster that is worth anything right now, because no one really cares. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, this was a good match. I'm not gonna lie. This was a very good match. So far, probably the second best match on the show, and I thought it was really good. I was kind of expecting worse, but Sasha Banks is really good. Alexa Bliss is fine, but she is very limited, kind of like Big Cass, except even more so. But she held her own in this match. I mean, every time, any match where she pulls off that Code Red in the corner, I'm there. Because she did one of the best Code Reds, and the way Sasha bumps off of it just looked great. But then the finish came. Sasha knocks Alexa out of the ring, and she tries to get her in the ring, and the referee's counting. Alexa slaps her and collapses, and then decides not to get in the ring, so she loses by count out, therefore retains the title, but she still loses. Why? This is a pay-per-view. A championship match on a pay-per-view. My pet peeve is a championship match on a pay-per-view that ends on disqualification or count out. Because it's a slap it's a slap to the face of the fans, and it's a ripoff. And it means the feud's going to keep going. It's a pay-per-view. Why can't it end at the pay-per-view? Why do you need to stretch this out? So, Sasha Banks gets pissed off, which is understandable. People are booing. I'm pissed off. And again, WWE does this way too often. I mean, at Money in the Bank, the last pay-per-view, the Usos did the same thing. So it's not even this. It's all that original. The Usos did the exact same thing at Money in the Bank. Walked out with the SmackDown Tag Team titles, lost the count out, but kept the titles, and it sucked then. Why do they keep doing this? There's multiple ways to get a heel champion to get out of a pay-per-view and protect the babyface, or whatever they were trying to do, whatever their thought process is. They rely on countouts and DQs way too much. There's multiple things you can do. A ref bump. Distracting the referee. Alexa and Nia Jax are kind of friends. Why not have Nia Jax come down and distract someone, or get on the like Sasha has Alexa in the bank statement. Alexa's tapping out. The referee's dealing with Nia Jax, so Sasha knocks Nia Jax off the apron. Turn around. Alexa scratches her eyes, kicks her in the stomach. I don't care. Brass knuckles, a title belt shot to the face. DDT. 1, 2, 3. You don't need to do a count out. And again, at Payback, they had Neville versus Austin Aries, and of course they used a disqualification to get out of the match, because they didn't want Austin Aries to lose, but they didn't want Neville to lose. If you didn't want either person to lose, then why did you book the match? Just infuriating. So yeah, so after the match, Sasha's pissed, so she goes after Alexa and beats the crap out of her. And then she jumps off the announce table near the ramp, near the exit of the entrance of the stage. Jumps off the ramp, goes flying through the air, lands right on Alexa Bliss's face. Now, for one, Sasha Banks has back problems. There goes my phone again. Again, Sasha Banks has back problems. Probably not her smartest idea. Second, Alexa Bliss started bleeding from the mouth. That's 2 accidental bleedings on this show. I don't know if she busted her nose or busted something in her mouth, but yeah, she was bleeding, and you could tell that the WWE was trying to not show that as much as possible. So yeah, there was that segment. It was a good match, but the finish absolutely just thumbs down. My first thumbs down on this show was this. So we've had a thumbs up, thumbs in the middle, 2 thumbs up, and now a thumbs down. And I guess now is a good time, anytime to mention, the commentary was terrible on the show. Breaking news, WWE commentary was terrible. Like, for example, in the next match I'll get to, I'll go ahead and get to the next match. The next match, The Miz versus Dean Ambrose for the 15 quadrillionth time for the Intercontinental title. Who cares at this point? Is there a human being on this planet that cares? I mean, they obviously had their blow-off match at Extreme Rules. In a match that I actually kind of like. It went a little too long, but it was still a good match. This wasn't a bad match. But it had 2 problems. One, I just said, we've seen this match 1,000 times. And that problem led into the second problem. The crowd was dead silent. You don't want to have a championship match in front of a dead crowd. That is not good. Especially for the Intercontinental title. Which is starting to become the Intercontinental title's gimmick, that they always have an Intercontinental title match in front of a dead crowd. It's beginning to, and I don't blame them, because The Miz is very boring, and I know a lot of people love The Miz. I don't get why. I mean, another reason why I didn't care about this match is I don't care about The Miz. I think he's boring. I think he's subpar in the ring, and he's boring. And I love Dean Ambrose. I think he's a good wrestler. Although, WWE has got to stop putting him in matches where he sells his leg. It's weird. He's good at selling his leg, but he's also terrible at selling his leg. Like, whenever he's grabbing at it, like, stumbling around, like, I believe his leg is hurt. But then he does this thing where he goes on a comeback and he starts running 100 miles per hour on both legs. And then after he's done, he grabs his leg again. And especially tonight, it's like he heard that people don't like the way he sells his legs. So he's like, well, guess what? I'm going to sell my legs whether you like it or not. I'm going to sell it the entire match. Well, you kind of did. And after you sold it a little while, you ran around at 100 miles per hour and then started selling again. Got on the top rope, grabbed his leg, jumped off, went for the pin, got kicked out, and then grabbed his leg. Dean, I love you and all, but that's not how it works. If your leg is hurt, you're not going to be able to use it. If you run with a hurt leg, you're going to hop up and down on the other leg. You're not going to be able to use this leg. If I go over and I chop block someone and it pisses them off and I run away from them because I don't want them to kill me because I pissed them off because I chopped out their leg, if they chase after me, they're going to be hopping because they can't use the leg. It's really simple. I don't know why this is hard for Dean to understand. But it was like a cartoon watching Dean Ambrose sell his leg. He's half good at it, half terrible at it. So they're having the match. No one cares. I don't care. Do you care? No, you don't. Although I will give them credit, the crowd kind of got into some of the near falls near the finish. But so they're and this is one case where the commentary was terrible. The finish is the Miz Taraj, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas, who look like the big Lebowski or whatever. It looked ridiculous. So they get on, and Maurice and all of them are interfering, distracting the referee, and then Bo Dallas hits Dean Ambrose in the back of the head, and then the Miz hits the skull-crushing finale and wins. Problem with this is Michael Cole and Booker T are terrible commentators. They somehow completely missed it, and Corey Graves, the only good commentator on the show, was like, guys, he got hit in the back of the head. Did y'all not see that? I mean, can you pay attention, please? So yeah, Corey Graves was the only one who caught it, and even then, I still don't think Michael Cole and Booker T noticed. Especially Booker T. Like, I can't stand Michael Cole. He calls the moves by the wrong names all the time, and he's just obnoxious. Booker T is next level awful. He's so bad. Like whenever Big Cass is wrestling, he's like, he's got a size advantage. You don't say. When Brock Lesnar or Braun Strowman wrestles, he's like, he's really strong. Really? I had no idea. Braun Strowman tipped over an ambulance, and you're telling me he's strong. Get out of town. I never would have guessed. Like, you've got to be kidding me. This is startling. This is a startling revelation. A guy who broke the ring and tipped over an ambulance, he's a strong man. Someone call the New York Times. Anyway, so that's enough of my ranting about the commentary. The commentary is always terrible. It's not anything new. Although I will argue that it's better than SmackDown's because at least they don't have JBL, who's even worse than Booker T. And they also have Byron Saxton, who's also terrible. But enough about that. So Miz and Dean Ambrose, thumbs down. No one cared about it. It wasn't a bad match. Actually, I'll take that back. I'll give it a slight thumbs in the middle, leaning down, because they tried, except for when Dean was trying to sell his leg. I don't understand, but they tried. The crowd didn't care. It's not their fault, and it's whatever. So they had the match, and it ended, and no one cared. And hopefully this feud is over, although on Raw the next night, Dean Ambrose was attacking The Miz again because this feud must continue! So yeah, we're probably looking at some kind of triple threat or fatal four-way or something at SummerSlam because, of course. But anyway, that's moving on. Up next was Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns in an ambulance match. This is where people are going to get mad at me. For some reason, everyone's favorite match on this show was this ambulance match. Now, it was a good match. I liked the match. But I don't think it was that good. It was good, but it wasn't great. And I'll tell you why, because there were several parts of the match where I thought it was boring. Like, it was good whenever they were going back and forth and whenever Roman Reigns was on offense. It was fun. It was exciting. Like, whenever he had a weapon or when he was hitting with steel steps, it was interesting. But whenever Braun Strowman was on offense without a weapon, it was a snooze fest. I know that everyone and their mother absolutely adores Braun Strowman. I do not, for the life of me, understand why. For the past year, I do not understand the WWE Universe and hardcore fans' sudden fascination with Braun Strowman. He's not that good. Why is he so over? I cannot stand watching Braun Strowman wrestle because A, he's so boring. I mean, his finishing move's a power slam, for God's sakes. Not even a good power slam. I mean, in the tag team match that I loved, Sheamus at one point gave Jeff Hardy a power slam. Sheamus has a better power slam than Braun Strowman because when Sheamus does it, he slams him. He power slams him. Braun Strowman, he runs forward with the guy on his shoulder and he teeters over and the guy kind of rolls off his shoulder. Now, it doesn't always look like that, but most of the time it looks like that. And he actually almost botched this one. It actually did look a lot like Sheamus' power slam, and it did not. It looked very, very clunky and clumsy, which is, of course, is Braun Strowman. Of course, is clumsy. So yeah, his finisher sucks. Why can't he go to that inverted flapjack cutter thing that he used to do? Why can't he do? I'll even take the choke, the Uranagi choke thing that he used to do back in 2015 when he debuted, when everyone hated him like they should have. Back when people justifiably, I wish it was back in 2015 when people hated him, like I did. I've always hated him. I've always thought he was boring. I've always thought he was a bad wrestler. I always thought he was green, uninteresting. Nothing about him is interesting. Absolutely nothing. The only reason why people like him is because people hate Roman Reigns. Braun Strowman owes his entire career to Roman Reigns. Because if it were not for Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman would not be over. Because the only reason people like Braun Strowman is because he's killing Roman Reigns. That's literally the only reason why. If it was Big Cass murdering Roman Reigns, tipping over ambulances, breaking rings, with just killing Roman Reigns, Big Cass would be absurdly over. If it was Brock Lesnar would be super over. Samoa Joe, he'd be super over. Anyone could have been put, any big dude, the freaking Big Show. Put any big dude in Braun Strowman's role right now and do what they've been doing for the past almost year, he would be over. Because everyone hates Roman Reigns. There's nothing special about Braun Strowman. He sucks. I'm sorry. But he's improved. Yes, he went from an F level guy to a C- level guy. Well, that's being generous. He's a D+ level guy. If you love Braun Strowman, if you like Braun Strowman, that's fine. I personally cannot stand him, but that's my rant. But whenever he was on offense and he didn't have a weapon, the match slowed to a crawl. And I'm just like, something happened. And the most annoying thing about this match, one thing I absolutely detest about Braun Strowman is whenever he's in a match that isn't a squash, his gimmick is he runs really fast and his opponent dodges and he goes flying into something. That is the only spot he knows how to do consistently. That's his spot. He charges like a bull, they do taro, and he bounces off of something. A ring post, a turnbuckle, a wall, a car, an ambulance door, and he looks like a retard every time he does it, because it's retarded. Think! And it was so bad in this match, he did it over and over and over and over. There was one point in the match where he ran at Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns went the other way. He went right into the ring post. And then 10 seconds later, he did it again. Why? Come up with a different spot. Do your crappy-looking drop kick. For all I care. Do something. And then they move away from the ring. And I'm like, well, at least he can't run into the ring post. He starts running into the wall. It's like, of course. Of freaking course. We have to have 50 gajillion Braun Strowman runs into something spots. Because he's a clumsy oaf. Braun Strowman's gimmick is he's Treebeard from Lord of the Rings. That's what he is. If Treebeard was stupid and ran into everything. Like, if Braun Strowman, if Treebeard had Braun Strowman's personality, which he kind of does, then Treebeard would run, like when he stormed Isengard, the first thing that the Treebeard would do would run directly face first into that Isengard tower. I can't remember what it's called. It might be Isengard. I can't remember. I'm kind of heated right now, but that's exactly what he'd do. He would, instead of the release the river, he'd run into the dam. He'd run into the wall, and then he'd go to break down the dam. He'd run right face first into it if he was Braun Strowman, because that's what Braun Strowman does, and it drives me crazy. So they're having the match. It's a good match. There are a lot of boring parts because Braun Strowman's boring. I don't understand why he's over at all. Everyone, when he was off TV and people were saying, I can't watch Raw without Braun Strowman, you have unbelievably terrible standards of wrestling. I'm sorry. If the only reason why you watch Monday Night Raw is because of Braun Strowman, I don't understand what it is about wrestling you like. You like big, hairy dudes that roar and run into things. You're a lot like Vince McMahon. So, anyway, of course, Braun Strowman's running into everything. And the finish of the match, Roman Reigns pulls a Braun Strowman into the ambulance. Goes for a spear, ambulance doors open, Braun moves out of the way, Roman goes flying into the ambulance, and Braun Strowman wins to send me off into a tizzy. You do not understand my hatred for Braun Strowman. Fastlane 2017, I know everyone hates that show. I adore that show because Roman Reigns beat Braun Strowman, and I want to buy that show on DVD because I can't stand him. So, and I honestly, I wish the feud ended there so I wouldn't have to see Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns because I'm getting sick and tired of it. Their entire feud has bored me up to this point. So I really did not care about this match. All I wanted was for Roman Reigns to win, all the internet fans to start crying about it because their hero Braun Strowman lost. I would have been fine with that. Oh no, Braun Strowman had to win because they have to continue the feud because of course. And of course they had to make Roman Reigns look like an idiot. Hey, I'm going to spare the guy. No, he runs out of the way and I torpedo myself into the ambulance and lose. So, I'm going to close the door because there's people here working on our air conditioning. There we go. So anyway, so Braun Strowman wins, much to my chagrin and fury. And then Roman Reigns jumps out of the ambulance and beats the crap out of Braun Strowman because you can't have no one gets over. That's the first thing. Couldn't have had him beat him up. Although it did lead to something that I absolutely loved. Roman Reigns throws Braun Strowman into the ambulance and attempts to murder him. Throws him in the ambulance, drives backwards into another vehicle, dismantling the ambulance. I was cheering. I was jumping up and down in excitement. Yay, yay, yay. Hopefully, I don't care. I'm happy. Whatever. Although, if Vince McMahon thinks that Roman Reigns is a babyface after this, he just tried to murder a man because he lost. He literally attempted murder. Babyfaces, the good guys, do not throw a hissy fit because they lost and try to kill someone. That's what the heels do. It's why they're called heels. Roman Reigns should be... I'm one of the few people on planet Earth that like Roman Reigns. I think he's a good wrestler. But why is he not a heel? He has nuclear heat. Like, he had a lot of heat before WrestleMania. And when he retired Undertaker, good Lord, he was like Eva Marie levels of heat. Turn that man. I will not accept a tweener. Which, on Raw... it was implied that he's a tweener. Because, of course, nothing can make sense anymore in this planet that we live in. I don't want a tweener. I want a heel Roman Reigns. Because if you watch Roman Reigns, he's at his best when his matches with Seth Rollins last year were great. Why? Because Roman Reigns was the heel, Seth Rollins was the babyface. Although in storyline, Roman Reigns was the babyface and Seth Rollins was the heel. Because the people who run this company are stupid. But anyway, so that happens. Everyone's like, double turn, double turn, double turn. Let me tell you right now, I swear to God, this isn't going to happen. I hope to God it doesn't happen. If Vince McMahon was like, you know what? I like big guys. People like Braun Strowman. Let's turn Braun Strowman face and make him be the top guy. I swear to God, if that's the case, I'm going to stop watching this show. I know everyone says it all the time. Oh, I'm going to stop watching. I'm going to stop watching. And they immediately turn around and start watching again. I am not joking. I hate Braun Strowman. I hate him more than John Cena. But if Braun Strowman... If the day Braun Strowman wins a world title, I'm done. With whatever brand that is. I'll watch the other brand. I don't care how crappy the other brand is. Because SmackDown kind of sucks right now. But I swear to God, if they make Braun Strowman a babyface and he's the top guy, he switches it from Roman Reigns to Braun Strowman, I am going to be absolutely furious. I might literally explode with anger. I'll turn into the Hulk. Because seeing Braun Strowman's uncharismatic, boring, sloppy, unoriginal, dull, drab, whatever face on my TV screen, that doesn't piss me off enough. But this guy, just... Anyway, so it was a good match. I like the fact that they tried to kill him, because I hate Braun Strowman. So that happened, Roman Reigns walks away. I swear to God, Vince thinks he's still a babyface. He's insane. Just turn him heel, keep Braun Strowman heel, or whatever, and just have Braun Strowman feud with someone else, anyone else. I don't care who. As long as Braun Strowman isn't a face, well, actually, just turn him face, just don't make him the top guy. You can have the double turn, as long as Braun Strowman doesn't become the top guy. Just give me that. Give me that. I don't care. Although, to be perfectly honest, I do think that they are eventually going to have Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman in Hell in a Cell match. That I would be interested in, not gonna lie. As long as Roman Reigns wins, because if Braun Strowman wins this feud, I'm going to be absolutely livid. Because Braun Strowman sickens me, and so do his fans. But anyway, so then something bizarre, completely and utterly bizarre happens. They're having the backstage, they're having the angle. Get it? Because Kurt Angle's out there. Puns. So Kurt Angle's out there. They have the EMTs. They have a freaking fire truck. They have the Jaws of Life and everything. While this is going on, they had wait, this is real. What would we do if we were a real fighting company? I guess we wouldn't want the audience to be bored. So send out Kurt Hawkins and Heath Slater. This actually happened. An episode of WWE Superstars randomly happened after this ambulance match. And we didn't even get to see the finish. Like, they're having the match, everyone's watching the other screen, no one's watching the match. And then they cut to the back, you hear a bell ring. And Heath Slater's declared the winner. What was the point? What was the point of this? What was the point? I don't understand the point of this. Completely bizarre. In retrospect, it was hilarious. Because, like, I don't think that... Has that ever happened? A match that happened on a pay-per-view where no one saw the finish? Has that ever happened? Except for, like, in WCW when they had that one pay-per-view and it turned off. But, it was weird. So, they have Braun Strowman out of the ambulance. He's bleeding everywhere, which, again, very bloody PG show. So, he's bleeding everywhere. He refuses, totally a babyface, refuses all medical assistance, walks out of there on his own bare feet, screaming, "Leave me alone." There's no way he's not a babyface. If Vince thinks he's still a heel, he's out of his freaking mind. Which is Vince McMahon. Of course he's out of his mind, so... I'm going to be right there with Bryan Alvarez if they don't turn these two guys. I don't care if Braun Strowman's a babyface, but if Roman Reigns is still if Roman is still a babyface or tweener, whatever, I'm going to have a Bryan Alvarez level flip out. So anyway, moving on. Then we had a freaking awesome main event. I liked the tag team match better, but this was so close. Braun Strowman... not Braun Strowman. What the heck is wrong with me? I've talked about... It's like Beetlejuice. I can't stop talking about him. He's going to appear and bore me to death. Anyway, so Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar. Automatically, like, this is a big fight atmosphere. This feels like a legit main event. Not crapping on the other matches, but still, this felt huge. Partly because both the guys in the match are huge, so of course. So they come out of the ring. before the match starts, Samoa Joe beats the ever-living crap out of Braun Strowman. Stop saying Braun Strowman. There it is again. The bane of my existence, ladies and gentlemen. Samoa Joe attacks Brock Lesnar. There we go. So he attacks Brock Lesnar, gives him a freaking Uranagi of death through the announce table, which looked awesome. So then the match starts, and they just beat the ever-living crap out of each other. And it is absolutely awesome. It felt real. It was great. And the announcing was good. They were calling it like a shoot fight. It was great. And the crowd was going nuts because of Samoa Joe and Brock freaking Lesnar. So they're beating the crap out of each other. Kicks, strikes, suplexes, chokes, Brock Lesnar even busts out a sidewalk slam. Okay, I've seen him do DDTs very rarely. I've seen him do what was it? I've seen him do what was it? I can't remember what he did. And he doesn't do power bombs anymore. He did a twisting power slam one time on CM Punk. I haven't seen him do that in a while. Even back in 2002, 2003, 2004, when he did a bunch of moves, I've never seen him do a sidewalk slam before, so that kind of surprised me. Also, it looked brutal. And every time he German suplexed Samoa Joe, it looked brutal. This match was fantastic. And then the finish. What a finish. And I know most people didn't like it. Boo-hoo, get over it. It was awesome. So, he has Brock in the coquina clutch. He has it locked in. And Brock's just about to pass out. But then Brock Lesnar is like, I'm freaking Brock Lesnar. Picks the big fat dude up with the choke on. Gives him an F5, 1, 2, 3. That was such a perfect finish. That was a perfect finish. Brock Lesnar won by being Brock Lesnar. You cannot get better than that. People complain that it took one F5 to beat Samoa Joe. I don't care. It looked awesome. Quit being a crybaby. There were some people that said that this match was underwhelming and not good. What is wrong with you? Seriously, I do not understand. It was great. But if you didn't like it, that's fine. I don't understand at all. But I loved it. I loved it. 2 massive thumbs up for this match. And so, overall, this pay-per-view, I guess I'm going to do number grades because my creative phrases are just for my video game reviews. So, I'm going to give WWE Great Balls of Fire an 8.75 out of 10. I highly enjoyed the show. There were some dumb things on it, like Braun Strowman and the Intercontinental title match with absolutely zero heat and a freaking count-out championship match. And Enzo talking for 3 decades. But yeah, I love this show. In my opinion, this has been the best WWE pay-per-view of the year. So, that's it. Those are my thoughts on WWE Great Balls of Fire. And now we are going to approach Battleground that is coming up. Not this coming weekend, but I think the weekend after. And I'm not going to lie, I think this show is going to be even worse than Money in the Bank because 2 words. Punjabi Prison. I am not looking forward to Battleground. It's going to suck. Seriously, the only time Battleground has ever been a good show was 2016. Last year's Battleground was good. Every other time it's been a complete and utter freaking disaster. And it's going to be a disaster because I'll review that pay-per-view if I even watch it. Which I shouldn't because the lineup is atrocious. Aside from AJ Styles and Kevin Owens because that'll be good. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you don't hate me too much because of my Braun Strowman rant. Actually, I don't care. He sucks. If you don't like it, whatever. I don't care. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. And we'll see you all next time. Good night, everybody.